This is probably the most political I've ever been on this channel to date. And I don't imagine I'm gonna get more political than this, man. But last night I came across presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. And I'm not entirely knowledgeable about the guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know everything he's put out there, but from the videos I've come across, bro, I'm gonna let the videos speak for themselves. Y'all can develop y'all's own opinion, bro. But his name is Vivek Ramaswamy. He's young, born in 1985. They're never gonna allow a man that young to be a fucking president, man. But he's running for the Republican Party. So y'all might even be up to speed on him. I'm not. It's my first time coming wind to this guy, bro. Just listen to his responses to these questions.
You would not spend another dime of American money on a war that does not affect our interests. You don't think the possibility of Russia taking over Ukraine is in our interest?
I don't think that's a top foreign policy priority. But I did also in that same speech identify what is our top priority.
I want to stick to this for a minute. You do not believe that Russia taking over Ukraine would be bad for our national interest?
I do not think it is a top foreign policy priority for us. I don't think it is preferable for Russia to be able to invade a sovereign country that it's its neighbor. But I think the job of the U.S. president is to look after American interests. And what I think the number one threat to the U.S. military is right now, our top military threat, is the Sino-Russian alliance. I think that by fighting further in Russia, by further arming Ukraine, we are driving Russia into China's hands. And that Sino-Russian alliance is the top threat we faced. And what I've said is I would end this war in return for pulling Putin out of that treaty with China.
How do you do this? No one tells Vladimir Putin what to do. That has not worked yet. And you said you would want to give him the Donbass. That would be rewarding Putin, wouldn't it?
I don't trust Putin, but I do trust Putin to follow his self-interest. I don't think he enjoys being the little brother in the relationship with Xi Jinping. And so what I think we need to do is end the Ukraine war on peaceful terms that, yes, do make some major concessions to Russia, including freezing the current lines of control in a Korean War-style armistice agreement.
Ukraine really wouldn't want to do.
Which Ukraine wouldn't want to do, and also a permanent commitment not to allow Ukraine to enter NATO. But in return, Russia has to leave its treaty and its joint military agreement with China. That better advances American interests and actually further deters China from going after Taiwan, which I think is a much higher priority for the United States.
Let me ask you this. You want to be commander-in-chief. So how would you decide what is in the national interest to use the U.S. military? What would the criteria be?
What affects the lives of Americans here on American soil? Where are there military threats? Where are there threats to life here in the United States? I think the border crisis, 200 Americans dying per day from the fentanyl crisis, 50 times the number that died on 9/11. That's an American interest. Semiconductor security, that's an American interest, which is why Taiwan matters in a way that Ukraine doesn't. But I believe in America First principles, as George Washington did, by the way, avoiding foreign entanglements when unnecessary, unless they're essential for American interests. I share the George Washington vision of America First.
Quick question on China. You've seen them harassing our ships, our aircraft, that ship 150 yards from a U.S. ship. What would you do differently than the Biden administration is doing now?
I would first abandon the divest to invest program. I think that's actually been a mistake, decommissioning ships that actually have us hit a nadir around 2027, precisely when Xi Jinping could be looking to go after Taiwan. But the second thing, and I come back to it, is break up that Russian-China alliance, because China's bet is that if they're going to go for Taiwan, the U.S. won't want to be in simultaneous conflict with two nuclear superpowers at the same time. But if Russia's no longer at China's back and vice versa, we're in a stronger position. And no other candidate in either party's talking about this. I think that's the top threat we face, and that's the focus of my foreign policy.
I want a very quick question here in the end. You were introduced yesterday in Iowa as the intellectual godfather of the anti-woke movement. Would you reinstate the ban on transgender members of the military?
I would not reinstate a ban on transgender members. I would, however, be very clear that for kids, that's where my policies are very focused. We should not be foisting this ideology onto children.
But you would not ban transgender members of the military?
I would not.
Okay. Thanks for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for that question. So it is true that I am also personally an unapologetic defender of the Second Amendment, because I do think that's what protects all of our other freedoms. Iran, China, other countries, they actually claim to offer the same freedoms we do in our Bill of Rights. The only thing they don't have is the Second Amendment. So I think that's fundamental. However, I don't think we can tolerate in this country another, for example, mass school shooting. I have 2 kids. They're about to be of school age. I think it's unconscionable for us to see another school shooting in this country. The way I want to stop that is by putting 3 armed security guards in every school across this country. When it comes to the root cause of gun violence, even beyond schools, we're suffering a mental health epidemic in this country of historic proportions like we never have. And so I'm focused on addressing that upstream root cause. Per capita, per person gun ownership hasn't gone up by that much over the last 30, 40 years. What has gone up is the mental health epidemic. And I'm very focused, especially in young Americans, solving that problem. For example, as we were just even talking about beforehand, banning social media, addictive social media in kids. That's a big part of what's fueling this mental health epidemic too. So I'm focused on addressing the root causes, and I think that's actually what's going to protect all Americans and then especially protect children. I said I'll shut down the Department of Education. We can use 25% of that budget to put 3 armed security guards in every school across this country. And as U.S. president, I'll do it. Thank you for that question.
Actually, you know, funny fact is black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me, but we're not. You mentioned in here that we have 3 different shades
Don, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open regardless of the color of our skin. The part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a
the
different
freedoms
point
that
of view.
black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without me
express your
regarding
views,
you as a
but I think
black
it's
man,
insulting that
but
you're
me
sitting
regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
that you're
That's what I
sitting
think we should
here,
say.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
Whatever ethnicity I am,
about
I'll
what
tell
it's
you.
like to be black in
Whatever
America.
ethnicity I am, I'll tell
sorry.
you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
the content of the
If you're
ideas.
going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay?
With-
But we appreciate you coming on.
With
Thank
due
you for
respect,
that.
Don, I look forward to
Thank you very
continuing
much.
that
I appreciate
conversation.
it. We'll
Thank
continue
you.
the conversation.
Thank you.
you so much.
Hey, that's the one that sold me, dog. We all know fucking Don Lemon is a clown, bro, but to see a presidential candidate willing to dive into the weeds of that topic of conversation on live TV with a goddamn clown like Don Lemon, bro, fire, bro. We need young blood in the Oval Office, bro. We tired of these goddamn decrepit ass motherfuckers running the goddamn country, bro. So, like I say, I'm not fully in tune with everything that comes with Vivek, bro, but the rounds of videos that I've seen, dog, bro, Buddy's a monster. And I'm already knowing folks are wondering how he's going to attack the economy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Can he get us back where we need to be, dog? I mean, I wouldn't be able to predict anything, man, but for someone born in 1985, let me just read you some of his credentials, bro. Ramaswamy is the co-founder and executive chairman of Strive Asset Management. Strive was established to offer an alternative to larger asset managers like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, the monsters, which Ramaswamy criticized for engaging in environmental, social, and governance (ESG) activities and mixing business with politics to the alleged detriment of shareholders. Strive's total assets under management surpassed $500 million on November 11, 2022, 3 months after its first fund launched. In January 2023, Strive launched a proxy advisory service to compete with such mainstream firms as Glass Lewis and Institutional Shareholder Services. Axios and Bloomberg have called Ramaswamy the leading anti-ESG crusader, bruh. Anti-woke gladiator. Up in the presidential office would be dope, bro. But look, y'all do y'all due diligence and, you know what I'm saying, research Buddy up. But came across my feed and I was very intrigued by the stuff I heard from him, man. He seems pretty dope. I'm out.